Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I am Shirley with Holistic Transformations Massage, also known as Jolly with Jolly's Healing Touch. I'm so honored to have our guest today, Isabelle Fouchard, who is a yoga instructor and wellness coach living in Haiti and here with us, living in Haiti and Germany, and here with us today to talk a little bit more about wellness. So, welcome, Isa. How are you?
Hi, Shirley. I'm super happy to be here. I'm super good. Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here. I'm so excited about our conversation.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about what you do and about you.
Okay, so yeah, I'm German Haitian. I was brought up in Germany in my early childhood, but we came regularly to Haiti. And 7 years ago, I decided actually to live in Haiti. And of course, between all of that, lots of things had happened that have a lot to do with what we will talk about here later. So my personal well-being and how I found my path and all of that. So, but for now, I just like to say yes, I live here. I'm in Cap Haitian in Haiti. That's my base. But I'm very often and regularly going back to Europe because that's also where I co-create things with people in the realm of well-being. So I call myself actually uh, a yogi and a well-being practitioner, advisor, coach, facilitator, um, and even an activist because I think it's a whole way of living. So like yogi is not just doing asanas. For me, it's really like a lifestyle. So for me, it has all to do with living healthily in a holistic way and sharing that also with others. So that's what I'm doing.
Beautiful. How long have you been a yoga instructor?
Oh wow, that's a good question because actually I started doing yoga I think over 25 years ago, and at one point I did this yoga teacher training to deepen my personal practice, and it was not so much to be a teacher. It was more like really for myself. I felt like I want to go deeper into all the facets of yoga. So I didn't use that right away. And then when did I start instructing? I think it was probably around the time when I was living in places where there were no yoga schools and I didn't find any yoga teachers. So I was just thinking, okay, I do my own practice. That's nice, but it's pretty alone. So maybe I want to see if people are interested. And so I started offering classes, and that's how I became a yoga teacher. That's true. So it's maybe 10 years ago, something like that. And so
Yeah.
here in Haiti, I do it much more than in Europe. But yeah, it's a part of also of the yoga life. It's like you don't just practice for yourself; you also share it with others.
And why did you start this yoga practice?
Why did I initially start yoga?
Yeah.
Well, it was a time in my life. It was after graduating, so post grad school, and it was not so easy to find a job. I was kind of stressed a little bit in my life, and I wanted to do something for me in a way, like physically doing a sport kind of thing, but that's also good for my mental health. So that calms me in a way. I went to a yoga class and I immediately felt like yes, this is the right thing, because before I was like very active, like playing tennis and volleyball, all kinds of team sports, very like competitive sports. And it was just like going to the gym was not my thing. I just like needed something that is more nourishing in a, again, holistic way. And I just for the first years did this now only for once per week, an hour, but it did me so good that I just kept doing it. It's like really a constant in my life for the past 25 years, that I really don't want to miss. And I've been obviously then doing it more and more often, and yeah, doing the teacher training, so it integrated my life slowly but surely to my whole benefit, I have to say.
Yeah. And how did you start? Like one day did you just wake up and say, "Let me look it up." How did you go about it? How did you start?
I think I really just like, it was an aunt of mine. She took me to this yoga class. It was like just a random yoga class, asanas, obviously, doing like
Mhm.
some body movements. And and from there I just felt like, okay, I like this. And but I moved into another town because I found a job there. And I looked up for what is the options here. And so testing a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Finding the right yoga school with the right people, obviously, and like you don't want to have something that doesn't match what your personal maybe expectations towards yoga are as well. So that's how I just like tried out a little bit and found the right one, and was very happy that I found a school that offered all kinds of schools of yoga. So like different practices at different times, and you could come as often as you wanted. And it was just perfect for me, so that I didn't have to commit to like a Tuesday from 6 to 8 p.m. And that's it, and there's no other classes. So I like that um, mentality of offering a yoga school that is open for the students to come as often as possible and to try out. I like that a lot.
You talked a bit about asanas. You know, there are different kinds of yoga.
That's true.
You can talk about that, please?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think nowadays when we talk in the Western world about yoga, everybody has in mind, okay, so she's doing like funny movements with her body, which are the asanas, right? The physical aspect of it. Um, and that's it, right? That's doing yoga. And that's just actually 1/8 of yoga. There are, as we call them, 8 limbs of yoga. And so the physical part is just one, but meditation is another one. And that some people might know as well. And then also the breath work, pranayama, is another aspect of yoga. And then also that some people might know, because usually a yoga class is composed of these 3 components, right? So you do breath work, you do meditation, and you have some physical exercises. But yoga is so much more. And this is why I'm talking about it as it's a lifestyle, because it's also a way to reflect about how you treat yourself. How do you go about being with yourself? That's one other part of yoga, the niyamas. And then the yamas is actually yet another part. Is like, how do you interact with the world, with the other people? What are your golden rules, your ethics, like to treat other people? And then obviously they are also like, what is your path of suffering, like, or overcoming self-sabotaging mechanisms? That's also a big part in yoga, is really like working on us, on ourselves, on our deepest dark little sides, right? So all of that together makes what is known in Eastern world, where yoga comes from, as yoga. So when I say I practice yoga, it sometimes could just be like, oh, I did a meditation this morning and maybe did just 10 sun salutations and that's it. Or I did a lot of breath work, but might not even have done yoga. And it's also just like being conscious and aware with my thoughts, with my word, and with my actions. That's actually being a yogi.
So we talked a little bit about this last time and how mindfulness plays a part. So how is that related to mindfulness?
Yeah, actually, yoga, as I have just described it, comes, as we know, from the Eastern world, from Asia, right? So India, the area there with like where the Buddhism and the Hinduism world, that's where yoga was kind of started all. Um, and mindfulness is actually, if you want to, kind of very much the same, because both are actually talking about being conscious, being aware most of the time around what you think, what you say, and what you do. Just mindfulness is more something that is maybe the scientific part of it, and it has been developed in the Western world. I mean, it's something that comes from lots of research around meditation, and it has basically the same roots as what yoga is all about. It's like just bringing awareness and consciousness to what you are thinking, because everything starts with what you are thinking. It's like what we are, what we do starts with a thought. So that both mindfulness and yoga say that, and actually they just come together. For me, it's not something like opposing at all. It's very complementary, and there's a big overlap. That's how I'd say it.
Yes. Yes. And we also talked about, you know, in my experience before when I knew just asanas as yoga, but also learning bhakti yoga, you know, devotion and chanting, you know, mantras, that's a form of yoga. So
Yes.
can you talk a little bit more about how that plays and how that can be a part of someone's routine. How could that could be a part of someone's practice, self-care practice?
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, the most important word you just said is self-care. So first of all, I don't think that yoga necessarily has to be the right thing for everybody. There are just some people that just do not really click with it. So that's fine. It's not like if you don't do yoga, you are a bad person. No, not at all. But if you are trying it or you tried any of the aspects of yoga and it spoke to you, I would welcome you to integrate it, as you said, in kind of your self-care practice, because that's what it's all about. It's like it's supposed to make us feel good, to make us live our full potential. It's like getting there. So if you want to have a self-care practice, and that's actually beyond yoga, is also like what you eat, right? Being around healthy food and healthy habits of what you drink and when you drink and what you don't drink, right? And eat. So for me, it's always is easy to have kind of these self-care practices or routines in the morning, first thing in the morning, because everybody has like so many on their plates during the day. So it's good to have a little, and it's again up to you to decide 5 to 10 minutes, can be half an hour, it can be an hour of self-care routine where you do the things that do good to you. And for me, it is meditation. Sometimes I add some breath work and asanas, and sometimes it's like longer and sometimes it's shorter. And it has also to do with just like consciously taking this time for you where you are not interrupted. Even if you have children, if you have your stressful job, you do not watch your emails while you're doing this, or even before. Just like say, like the first half hour of the day or the first 10 minutes of the day is for me. And in those 10 minutes, you do these things that you have defined, do me good, and you just go about it.
And I think a lot of us practice yoga without knowing it, you know, or putting the term yoga to it, because it
Absolutely.
is a way of living. It is
Yes.
a relationship to self, and an awareness of how I walk in the world and how I take care of myself and take care of the world around me. So I think I think it seems like a foreign thing to some people, and I think we're already doing yoga, most of us. You know, if you're focusing on
Yeah.
your breath, that's a
Yeah, I
form
would
of
say
yoga.
it's like at least aspects of yoga. I think some of these aspects, everybody is doing it already. And the thing is maybe just like bringing awareness to it. Like
Yes.
just, oh, I'm like very aware when I do my little running in the morning. It's just like doing it in an aware way and not doing 10,000 things in parallel. Just like practice that, just like to show that it is whatever is good for you in one of these areas of yoga. Just try to make it conscious. Not just like do, for example, I see people in the gym very often, they do their workout and then they watch TV in parallel. And I think that's maybe not so good. Your body should get all the attention at the moment that you do these things for yourself. So don't do a telephone conference or watch TV while you do your walking or your cycling.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's an intention and attention that you put to what you're doing.
My
That's
yoga teachers actually tells me always like it's all about attention and intention. Just with those two things, you do so many things differently. If you just put attention on a thing and intention, have an intention. You should have an intention for every single day in your life or every hour in your day.
right. And
Yeah.
also having the intention of a self-care practice, the intention of, mindful breathing or mindful movement. I think that's very powerful.
Absolutely. And it's just like exactly because sometimes people take it a little bit light. Okay, it's like Isa is this girl and she takes care of like this well-being stuff as if it is like a luxury to do these things. But actually it's also it helps us when we have really deep problems. It's not just it's actually very much healing. It's kind of medicine. It's also very preventative for lots of problems that we have in the nowadays Western world, if I may say so, like anxiety issues, depression, um, or even just like not feeling what is my purpose in life? Why am I here? What am I doing for myself? All these things. If you have a, how should I say, a good well-being practice, self-care practice, and yoga again can be part of it or not, I think you can heal a lot what is making you feeling bad or is not having you that. And it's just because you set now an intention. You have a focus, what is good for yourself. And by that, you have goals and you have objectives and you reach them if you take well care of yourself as a whole and not just like, okay, I want to get that job and it should be paid this and this amount of money, but is that job also good for my health, for my mental health? Does it go together with my job and my other interests in life? So this brings you to like seeing things just from all perspectives. And that's very important, I think, to overcome things like anxiety issues or depression. It's not looking at yourself just from one angle. It's very important to take into consideration all aspects of you and of your life.
And what an answer for these times. I think anxiety and depression has taken a serious toll on young people, but not just young people, really our population. Yes. And what an answer, something that you have everything you need right there. You can stop and do yoga and it can help you you don't have to purchase one thing, right? It can really help you deal with it. Yeah. And can you talk a little bit about how yoga is growing in Haiti? I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, that's a very beautiful thing to see. When I came to Haiti 7 years ago, there were like some little blossoming activities. There were not many yoga teachers, but it was, I think, maybe by luck that within my first 2 or 3 years, there are like lots of Haitians who are amazing yogis who live outside of the of Haiti who came back. And we found each other. And there's a very beautiful yoga community nowadays here. And it's not just about like offering yoga classes to others. And also, by the way, charity yoga classes, like to children, street children, or people who don't have the means. But it's also like we work together. So like I did retreats with one of them, or actually 2 of those existing other yoga teachers here in Haiti. So it is something that is more and more happening and that people do more and more. And it's beautiful to see, because in the beginning I had some people who were really thinking, no, I cannot come to your yoga class because I go to church. And I was like, what does that mean? I mean, you can go to church and come to my yoga class. It's not a religion, right? Yoga is not a religion. And some heads of Haitians, it was, you know, or maybe it still is. But I see the interest is growing, and not just in the expat community. It's really like there are more and more people in Haiti who are open to it and who do it, who really enjoy it. And that's beautiful to see. And that's definitely the fruit of what me and my fellow yoginis, as I call them, have probably done here so far. And we just like continue to offer yoga in different settings, in different places, so that really people in Haiti can find a new way to do something good for them. It does not have to be an expensive gym or something like this. You can do something else. So
you have everything you need right in the moment. That's
exactly. Yeah, you just basically, yeah. Actually, you don't need anything. Maybe a mat would be good, but you can also do it without a mat. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, it's exciting too, because Haiti has such a young population. And what a tool, what a great tool to deal with frustration, to deal with anger, to deal with everything. Yeah, to center, to ground, all the stuff that, you learn as an adult. But what a great tool for children. So that's really exciting to hear about, perhaps it moving into the schools,
Yeah, and not exactly, not just like for children, it's also specifically in a culture like Haiti that is a very outgoing, extrovert culture where people are, like out and about and loud in general. Of course, we have introvert Haitians, but it's a culture where people like loud music, they like to dance, and there's always tons of people around you. It's interesting to see how yoga was perceived here first, but how this has changed and how people see the benefits of it. And yes, you mentioned school, so children, because it allows children to grow up with a very important tool. And this tool is just a tool to find a little space of peace for yourself whenever you want to. And this is, I think, worth a lot in a country where people don't have a lot of space for themselves and where it is just naturally very loud. And I'm obviously talking about big cities, but we know that like a big part of the population is living in the greater Port-au-Prince area, or even here in Carpathian where I live. People live just very densely together. And I think it's beautiful for children to learn, like, this is a place that I can create for myself, a peaceful place, and it will do me good. And yes, there are some activities. Actually, one of my fellow yoginis here, she's been teaching in downtown Port-au-Prince in a school, yoga, and with a great success. The children loved it, and even the teachers who were like, "Wow, what is this?"
Yeah, right.
They saw how the children were calmer, were more awake and present after the yoga classes. You know, this is also something very beautiful to see. It's not just the effect that it has while you are practicing yoga, and again, whichever part of yoga, but also the long-term effect that it has. And it's really just like bringing balance, bringing groundedness, bringing you to yourself, being just more centered also with yourself.
Yes.
So that's something
And
very
teaching
beautiful.
the powerful tool of breath.
Yes.
You know, and that's such an important tool to have when you're young.
Absolutely. Breath is for me also like kind of the easiest way to show people the benefits, because it's super fast, you know. And like with breath work, you can so fast calm somebody who has anxiety issues, or somebody who has no energy, and just like you, by a couple of different energy breathing techniques, you can really see, oh my god, this had calmed me. Oh yes, my god, now I feel more energized. And you don't have to do like a 90-minute practice of breath work, right? You can just like do a minute or like a couple of breaths, and it's really amazing how that helps. Because in general also, most of the time I think people never know like what is the power of breath, because we do it automatically. Nobody taught us. Do we need to learn how to breathe? No, everybody does it, right? But yes, you should learn how to breathe, because there are so many different ways of breathing, and if you are again conscious about them, you can use them as a very, very powerful tool in times of need. So that is very important to know again.
I really encourage everybody to really try it. If you're listening to this or watching this video, try it. So Isa, if we can go through a little bit of breathing exercise right now, would that be all right with you?
Absolutely. And maybe I can just show like two different ones for two different like situations.
Yes.
But I also wanted to, before that, say something, because you mentioned a very important aspect of it. It's like, of course, if you are in this moment, as you are watching this video, in a state of total anxiety or total depression, and somebody is telling you, come on, just breathe it away, no, this will not work. I know this, and I have lots of respect for every deep ailment that you might have right now. But it is something that can help you to build up to a solution of getting support with whatever ailment you have. And I think that's important to understand. In a moment of a crisis, it can help, but you should have learned about it before. So this is why I give us now like maybe two little breathing exercises. And if you practice them right now, or when you are okay, the more often you practice them, the more they will help you in the moments when you need them. So one is maybe, as we were talking about anxiety issues, a very good one I'd like to do with you. It's called the 4-7-8 breathing. And some people might know it already. It's really very simple and easy, because most of the times we talk about simple, but then it's not easy. But this one is simple and easy. So it's about like inhaling on a count of 4, and then holding the breath on a count of 7, and then exhaling on a count of 8. So you inhale through your nose, you hold the breath, and then you exhale through your mouth as if you want to blow off a candle, like, but not you really wanting to blow it up, just like on a count of 8. And I can do this once with you here. So I have to say something for it before. There's one thing I would like to add, and that is if you bring your tongue behind your upper teeth, that's even helping it more. And I will explain more about this after having done this little exercise with you again. So just remember 4, 7, 8, meaning inhaling on a count of 4, holding on a count of 7, and then exhaling on a count of 8. So let's do it together. Inhale, hold, and exhale. So that was it. That was one round of it. And if you do this for 3 to 4 rounds, not more, I will guarantee you, before going to bed doing this, you will sleep better. And if you have like your anxiety issues making you wake up like at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I swear if you do this exercise every morning before you get up, or just as you get up, and every evening before you go to bed, just 3 rounds of it, it's sufficient. 3 to 4 rounds, not more. It will help you sleep better through the night and providing your brain with more oxygen. And while you provide your brain with more oxygen, you don't have this moment in the middle of the night that could happen, that your brain has too little oxygen, and that what makes bad thoughts and anxieties coming up, right? So like you provide your brain with enough oxygen to really have a calm night. And that's really a good one for anxiety issues as well. I want to show now or talk about another breath exercise that is more the contrary, that is like to give us more power. If we feel like really exhausted and powerless, you come home after a day of work and then family expects you to be like in full power and your energy to like handle the family life, right? And you're just like, oh my God, just give me a minute. I just need to, breathe. Yes, exactly. So that's from Pranayama. That's a Bastrika breath. And I always do it like by holding my hands as much up as possible on my ribcage sides. And we will inhale and exhale deeply and intensively for 15 times. I show it. And I will tell you why this is so good. So it's all happening in here. You don't have to have your hands there, but I use it because that you have really have this as a visualization, how you really breathe in and have like your lungs going to the sides, and then you exhale and you have it all shrink together again. So it's like So basically why it's important to do it 15 times, and it's really not, you don't push with your hands, right? It's just like for you to feel that you are breathing, that you're using all your rib cage to go to the sides. It's to have this intensively and deeply and fully inhaling and exhaling through your nose. You provide lots of oxygen right now to all of your organs and your heart. So like actually you bring your heartbeat up, and that energizes. It's very simple, it's energizing. And really do 15 at once, like 15 times inhaling and exhaling, and then make a little pause. And if you still feel like, oh, that was not enough, maybe just like take 3 to 4 normal breaths and then do again another round of these 15. And it's very, very beautiful way to energize yourself. You can also do that in the morning, by the way, having that as part of your morning routine.
Yes, I love that. I feel it. I felt it in my fingers, like this rush of energy. Yeah.
Sometimes really it can also, and don't be afraid, it can make you a little bit dizzy if you are not used to this kind of breathing, specifically the Bastrika that we just did as a second, because it's all of a sudden getting all this oxygen into your body. So some people feel like a tingling in the fingers or in the feet. Others really like they start seeing like stars or like feeling a little bit dizzy. That's completely okay. But just that's why we just do it for 15 times, and then you just breathe normally. And if you want to, you can go again.
Awesome. That's really
Yeah.
powerful. I will add specifically the instructions in the description box below. So, Isa, please tell us how nutrition can play a part in having a yoga practice.
Yeah. So again, for me, it's like, again, the wider image, right? Not just thinking about yoga asanas or well-being, what is important about your well-being. And I usually work with these 6 foundations of well-being. So we have like 3 mental aspects and 3 physical aspects. So the mental aspects are like knowing your own emotions and feelings. The second one there is like building social contacts and responsibility. So it's your interaction with other people. And also the third one is growing your career. And again, it does not need to be a paid job. If you are a full-time mom today, that's your career. So it's like just making it a part where you are conscious about what do I want to do here and how can you grow there. And then let's come to the physical aspects of your well-being, the physical foundations of your well-being. So obviously one is the physical exercise, and yes, it could be asana, it could be going to the gym, it could be whatever physical exercise you like. And the second one is obviously your nutrition. And the third one is, and that's super important, is resting. It's super important. Like the time you sleep per day or the time that you rest, that you physically and mentally give yourself a rest, has to be also adapted to your needs. It's not like, okay, I'm age, I don't know, 40 and I have this kind of blood pressure, so I should sleep this and this amount of hours or per night. It's more like just be aware that you need rest and do it consciously. So that's important. And so coming to the nutrition part, that's kind of the same as the rest part. We are all very different beings. And I think for the well-being, it's just important to find what is your balanced nutritional composition of things. And obviously there are some rules that apply to everybody. So we should eat lots of fresh, organic fruit and vegetables. Yes. But like, what's about being vegan? What about being vegetarian? No, you don't have to be. I am almost like 90% of the time vegetarian or vegan, but every now and then I like my piece of meat and I like to eat a piece of cheese, and that's totally fine. So like you should find, and there you can also find somebody who will guide you, who finds out what is your body type. You know, in the Ayurvedic teaching, we have all these 3 different doshas, but there are so many different schools of nutrition to find out what is your body type, how do you digest your food, how do you burn your food. So just being aware that what is good for you, find that balance in eating maybe in a way that you will, if you listen to your body, will make you feel well. And it's like things like, when do I eat? How much do I eat? How fast do I eat? Do I spend, again, conscious time while I'm eating? Or am I doing this like on my way to the bus? Not good. No matter if it's a healthy food, just don't do it on the run. So really find a moment to eat consciously. Be it 3 times per day or 4 times or just 2 times per day, just do it consciously. And that's about like when and how you do it. Very
Oh,
important.
wow.
Yeah, and this is, you mentioned also something very important, like this moment of like, after having eaten, and if you, how do you feel? How do you feel right away after? So if it's like, oh my God, I have a stomach ache, or whatever, this is your body talking to you. This means like there had been something wrong. Either it was what you eat or how you ate or how much you ate. If you have, like, if you are super tired after eating or you have pain after eating, you can bet that there's something wrong in how or when or how much you ate or what you ate. And listen to that instead of like having this reflex of just like going to your cupboard in the bathroom and taking a pill against these pains. No, just think, what did I eat? how fast did I eat? Did I eat in a environment of calm or stress? And just realize that. That's already a good thing. Just realizing it. And don't punish yourself for it. Just realizing it and say to yourself, okay, next time I'm going to do it differently. Next time I'm just going to take a moment, maybe eat less, and maybe you even feel, your body will tell you, that was this like mac and cheese, that was maybe too heavy for me. You know, so that just like start listening to the signs that your body sends you, specifically when it comes to nutrition, but actually also when it comes to the physical exercise part and all of these things. Our bodies talk to us. We just have forgotten to listen to them.
And to trust it. To trust
and
it.
to trust it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
That's very powerful. Thank
And
you.
there's also, by the way, a lot you can do for children. Like most of the people think, like when you have a 2-year-old, you just said, right? The 2-year-olds, they have a strong character at that time, and you know, you don't have to worry that they will die out of hunger. No child, if you provide them food, will eat too little. So just like if the child says like, I don't want more, it's okay. Don't force them to eat more. It's just like they know, because they have still a very good connection to what is good at this moment. Maybe they are hungry again in an hour. Yes, that can happen. But don't ever force a child to eat more than it wants.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're very intelligent. There's an intelligence that we need to go back to and listen to and trust and let it guide us. Tell us a little bit about some of your projects. Can you tell us about some of the things you're working on?
Yeah, well, right now, so like as I said, like I'm like see myself as this well-being practitioner, activator, coach, and guide. So I work with individuals who want to improve their well-being for several reasons, right? It could be that they just like need a general life coaching, but it can, most of the times it has more to do with a problem that you want to work on. And I am there to support people no matter where you come from, what your problem is, and finding your full potential has with me very much to do with working on your well-being on different sides. So when I work with individuals, but by the way, also with organizations who have understood and seen that if you invest in your employees to be more responsible about their well-being, you will have more active, more productive, more happy and healthy employees, and they will just like improve by that your company, your organizational well-being. So they will probably attract more employees wanting to work for your company because it's such a nice setting of work if an employer is investing time actually into their employees to improve what they can do for their health. It's not like about expensive human resources development programs. It's really just like giving little tools like we just did here to people in a company setting so that they know how to better manage their well-being in their lives instead of just like waiting until you are sick and then go and see a doctor. So that's what I'm doing in Europe and here. And I also cooperate in doing that with people who are like-minded, and they have different fields of expertise. So I've been working with sound therapists. I'm working with poetry therapists. And lately also with people, who do organizational management and human resources, basically. And they just like are looking for other things to offer people in the corporate world than just like go to the next personal development seminar, right? So that's one of the projects I'm working on right now. And I hope that I can always continue to do what I call charity work. So that means like offering what I offer in a different setting for people who do not have the means to pay for it. So in Carpathian here, I've been doing a public yoga class on a square and just announcing it through social media and telling it around, telling the street kids and see who's showing up. And it was amazing to see like there were only street kids showing up, no one else. But then like other people came as well. They were looking. First, they were just like maybe the first 3 times just looking and not participating, and that's okay too. But I just like doing that so that, to show that it is something. It's not a spooky thing, and it's available for everybody. And I want it to be something that stays available.
It demystifies it, and I think that's really powerful. To It's
Yes,
not some
yes,
secret thing, and here, this is what it is, and it's available to you too. That's really
exactly,
powerful. Yeah,
exactly,
beautiful.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are just like some of my projects that I'm doing, and I'm also branching out because I work a lot in the area of like where science meets well-being, in the sense of holistic for me is like it has obviously to do with like traditional healing methods and yoga and traditional Chinese medicine. All of these things are like what we know in the naturopath world, or like, yeah, traditional healing. But nowadays, even like the high-end science medicine has discovered that well-being has a lot to do with seeing the human as a whole, and is that also supporting the development of a person and treating an ailment from all of these points of views, and not just like having the best medication or the best machines, but also see like what can we do for the mental health, and on that level working with local traditional healing methods or any other traditional healing methods, and also going into energy work, into spirituality work, and all of that. That is something really very interesting to see how these used to be very opposing schools of healing are now coming together.
And the understanding of, the understanding of yoga not being something that's religious, that's
Yes.
really a really powerful thing. And I think that people are really coming to that understanding, and which is making it more available to people. So
Yeah.
that's beautiful. I'm really happy that you're doing that.
Okay.
So what would you tell someone who heard this information today and is like, I really would like to start a yoga practice in my self-care routine, but I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. What advice would you give someone like that?
Yeah, what I would first do is just think about a friend maybe that you might have who's doing yoga, and just ask them about like if they have a yoga school to recommend to you. And if you don't want to go through a friend's and you just want to do your own thing, maybe you want to decide first, do you want to go to a yoga school, or do you want to start with a private class? Like, because you might be a shy person who, very often I have that in my classes. I have persons like they want to come to yoga, but then they think I have all these perfect yogis in my class, and they don't dare coming because they don't know yoga, which by the way, everybody knows how to do yoga, because it's just about moving and practicing. It's not about being in a perfect position. It's really just practicing. So if you are more somebody who's shy, then just find a teacher who could give you a one-on-one class, or you just find a yoga school, find out where the yoga schools are around where you live, and what are their conditions, what are the times that they offer, what kind of yoga do they offer, because there are different yoga styles. There are some that are more powerful in the sense of like cardio, really like it's a workout kind of yoga. And there are others that are calmer, like Hatha Yoga, Shivananda school of yoga is calmer, and Ashtanga and Vinyasa yoga is more moving the whole time. But anyways, just like find out what different offers are there where you live or where you work, whatever is more practical for you, and then just go and try out. What I would definitely not do is, if you have never done yoga, don't just buy like a CD or go on a YouTube channel and start, because it's like actually any other, and there's the only analogy that we have, it's like any other sport. You want to have somebody who introduces you to it, because there might be things that you do wrong, and if you do it in front of a yoga, YouTube channel or um, videotape, nobody will tell you what you are doing wrong, and you just follow the class and you think you're doing it great, but maybe you might do things that might hurt you later on if you just like have a different or wrong position in your foot and so on. So yoga online is good for people who have already had a yoga teacher, or you have been a couple of times to a yoga school, and then it's totally fine to do online. I do lots of online classes where I just like go deeper into specific yoga schools, but it's really important that you have first an idea of how am I supposed to get into this or that asana, that position. And once you know the basics, then you are just open to like do it on your own, do it in a class, or do it with an online teacher as you like.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
So Isa, please tell us a little bit about Zen IT and what is happening there with that project.
Yeah, so Zen IT is an amazing initiative of a couple of people here in Haiti of just wanting to bring together everybody who works in spirituality, well-being, here, based in Haiti. So like we have amazing Reiki masters here. I mean, I'm a Reiki master myself, but it's like you have really people who only do that. So I work with energetic healing, but I not only do that. So there will be 2 days actually in January next year, January 16th and 17th of 21, when again, everybody can come together for 2 days, and it's kind of a festival if you want to. It's like a fair, so everybody can, if you want to have a booth to present what you do, what are your healing, your well-being knowledge or services, you can just like bring it out there. And there's even like a treatment room where you can offer your services right away. So it's a very beautiful moment to showcase all the people that we have, Haiti-based Haitians, who work around everything that has to do with, Zen. This is why it's called Haiti Zen. Everything that has to do with your well-being and spirituality. And it's really a beautiful opportunity if you are interested to come to Haiti and see what is going on here. It's amazing, because the last 2 years when it was taking place, unfortunately in 2020 they had to cancel it, but in 2019 and in 2018 I think we had at least 40 different exposers. Do you say that? I mean, like people who came showing what they are doing, and there's lots of interesting moments also. Like you can connect with people and maybe co-create something new. I got to know somebody there that I partnered with afterwards for a retreat. So it is beautiful. It is an amazing occasion.
I cannot wait. I definitely plan on being there in January.
Yes, you should.
Katie, and just going Zen. Zen IT sounds really remarkable and exciting, and in a beautiful setting of Haiti. So if you are interested in learning more about Zen IT, please comment Zen IT, and we will put more information about the festival happening in January in our description box. Thank you, Isa. Really appreciate that.
You're welcome so much, really.
Oh, look at that.
You see, like this is my rock. Oh, do you see that rock?
Oh, yes, I see it now.
That's my meditation rock, baby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's beautiful Haiti.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, my dogs. Okay, that's now my dogs.
Cannot wait to visit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, my love, it was wonderful.
Well, Isa, thank you so much. This has been such an informative time. Thank you for this conversation, for the information, for sharing your time with us. And we hope you can come back again another time.
I want to thank you so much for having me here. It was a pleasure to work together with you and sharing, sharing our love for well-being with your audience here.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you'd like for us to talk a little bit more about yoga or do another video on yoga, please comment, I want more yoga. Thank you again, and hope to see you on our next video. Bye-bye.
Bye.